Hey there, folks. It's me, Chris, with the Gigman's Life. Yeah, baby. It's a Gigman's Life indeed. And of course, this channel is what it is. I talk about the gig life, and people want to go and confuse that with rideshare, delivery driving, and whatever else is out there. But the factor is we always live in a gig economy. There's no such thing as full-time careers where you do the 40-hour, 40-year retire and die strategy any longer. That's been only 100 years that has existed. But we're talking about Uber and Lyft and the self-insurance issue that, you know, people who actually looked at their publicly stated documents about businesses that are structured and are publicly traded. I've worked for a privately held multi-billion-dollar corporation for 10 years. There's a lot of things that seem questionable, but are completely legal. But here's the side that a lot of people are looking at is, especially when I see in a few times during the week, being in Massachusetts, seeing the weekly breakdown and seeing that Uber says, we didn't make money with you driving, but that big chunk of insurance was taking out. And I knew somewhere down the line, this is bullshit. Just saying it. Because working for a large corporation that's privately held, you learn there's a large amount of bullshit that companies do. And it's mainly because you have to do that, because if everything is in one basket, you drop it, you got no eggs left. And that's why, you know, hearing, oh, well, they own their own insurance company. A lot of companies do that. And they have to have that war chest there to go and meet the obligations by laws to be that type of company to exist. Because when you self insure, there is a need to have that capital. Now, a lot of people are going, well, from my reference, this is 10 times the rate. Okay. Yeah, it could be. But when we're talking about one thing that should be happening is when we go online, that insurance should be right there, not when we're traveling to pick up an individual. not when the party is in our vehicle, but it should be when we're online for these companies because shit happens and they've been playing this up because that rate they're charging should be during the time we're completely online. If they're going to hold us to being only able to work 12 hours on the platform, then they need to go and be covering the insurance for what happens when we are on the platform. That's just logic to me. And them charging the rate they do is just one of those things. And I'd be happy if they have to have the inspections that Mass has, because you got the state inspection, then you have to go through TNC inspection. And when I have to use a rental car and have to either travel to Worcester to get one so I can operate in Mass, or I have to work in Connecticut because what car? What car am I doing and what can I get into Mass? And that's always something that gets entertaining because people are like, I don't know why they don't want to take my trip to Massachusetts. Because if you're not just right over the border, it's harder to get work. And a lot of people are just lazy. They don't want to do Uber Eats. Personally, I should take some Uber Eats orders, but quite frankly, some of the people that you deal with is some people, I will tell you, restaurants, majority of the time, great places. Customers, great people. That small little percentage that only a handful of people I never want to see again. And it's harder when it's restaurants because they decide that, oh, yeah, we just got the order. Boom, it's done. Not because they're trying to make it that it's on the driver for why their food took so long. You know, restaurants should be seeing, the platform should be seeing, you just ordered something that takes a half hour to prepare. You cannot just say, boom, it's done. They should also be looking, we got 15 orders, large orders from this restaurant. They shouldn't be saying all 15 orders are ready in less than 5 minutes. So, yeah, these platforms are making money. They have to have the money in there. So, when people are playing this, and I respect everybody's hustle doing it, I just want to go and make it clear. We have to look at it from both angles. And when you look at it from both angles of everything going on, it is fishy. It is how businesses function to remain profitable. And once they're publicly traded, we can see behind the curtain because they have to make publicly available shareholder statements. So always check those things on those companies. You guys have a good one. And always remember, you want to see more about what I think? Check out the gigmanslife.com and see what's going on. It's not just these gigs. I got more going on in the brain than just this. So you have a good one.